Hey, it's Aaron, the Metal Theologian. Yeah, so I'm still, like, listening to nothing but old psych shit. And a lot of, like, softer stuff I didn't used to dig. So if you're looking for metal in this video, I'm afraid we have to let you down. Although I'm holding back some pretty fucking good metal. Like, just a little teaser for, like, a future video. Here's one I don't think I've talked about yet. Phantasm. It's a Russian one. I haven't even played this fucker yet. So, that's all sitting here just waiting for when the time is right. In the meantime, though, you know something? When I got back on this kick, one of the first things I did is Vinyl Richie did a video back, I don't know, maybe 6 months or a year ago at this point, but he just talked about his favorite 60s psych albums. I went back and rewatched that, and I probably had about half the records already, and a bunch of the other ones I went out and, like, bought, and a lot of them I had before and let go of, but, you know, reacquired one way or another. So that's kind of been my diet a little bit. So in a way, this is going to be a little bit of a tribute to Vinyl Richie here, because I'm going to go through some of the shit that I've gotten under his inspiration and talk about. And I'll probably throw in a couple other things too, but we'll see. So anyway, I'm trying to keep the volume lower on this shit because I'm sick of the fucking copyright algorithms fucking me. But right now we're listening to a Void one. See right there, this was actually a sticker too. He like got the things printed and then put a sticker on there. I have some more Void stories actually. I've corresponded a bit with the guy, and I have a couple stories. I'm going to do a follow-up video and I'll talk about some of that shit. But this is great. It's very much sort of folky psych, which was never really in my wheelhouse before, but what made me cross the line with this one from like thinking it was a good record to fucking loving it is the auto harp, man. It's just like loaded with auto harp on every single cut, and it's just fucking. I mean, there are a couple that aren't not so much, but it's just such a weird sound. It's so unusual, and I don't know. I guess I didn't realize what a great instrument that is. The only other thing I can even think of that has anywhere near as much auto harp is the first Gods record, and obviously that's a whole different story. I mean, the fucking Gods, you know, they didn't even call it auto harp; they called it psaltery, as you know if you have an original of that. So, which is kind of funny, but you know. Anyway, I don't think the way they play the psaltery would be particularly pleasing to King David or anything like that. Let's put it that way. So, I got a couple of these Pure Soda Works drinks, and this is the Cafe Cola. So I was kind of lukewarm on the apple pie one from last time, but this is just a plain old cola. So let's see how it is. Again, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Sparkling water, pure cane sugar, orange juice, lemon juice, lime juice, spices, caramel color, espresso, and citric acid. That is an interesting list of ingredients for a cola. It says, boy howdy, this soda's mighty good. You know, a long time ago someone told me that Coke was healthier than Pepsi because, like, if you took all the bullshit out that you put in, what you were left with was the juice. And Coke had orange juice. No, Pepsi had orange juice, and Coke had grapefruit juice. And since grapefruit juice is better for you, that meant that Coke was better for you. But there's no fucking juice in either one of those. Like, this guy, he like wasn't a moron either. Like, he usually didn't just like tell dumb stories. Like, it's kind of weird. He had interesting stories. He was an interesting guy, but in fact, there's one person I know from San Francisco who watches these videos sometimes who knows this guy, or at least did. And maybe he's putting it together right now, but enough with the inside jokes. We're going to give this fucking try right here and now, because I am really intrigued by this bad boy. Let's see. It's really complex. For a cola, it's not really that cola-y. It almost feels more like a mulled wine or something like that, like with the spices and sort of the fruitiness that you would get with the wine. But since it's not wine, it's juice, it's sweeter than that, you know what I mean? But it's not like oppressively sweet either. It's really the spices coming through. The orange comes through. I feel like I can taste some cloves, maybe some allspice. This is really good, man. Yeah, this is really, really good. I was pretty lukewarm on that apple one, but this Cafe Cola is solid, man. It's totally worth a try. Again, as a cola, I don't think it can beat some of the really exceptional colas like that Pepsi one or the 1812 one they had or whatever it was, 1898, whatever it was. Where like the Swamp Pop that I'm so fond of, the Noble Cane Cola, because those are more pure cola flavors. But just as a soda that's like cola-ish, this is really good, man. So, that actually has juice in it, in contrast with Coke or Pepsi, whatever that guy fucking said. So, that's a weird story. I don't know where, never mind. Alright, so, where should we start with this shit? Okay. This is the Beat of the Earth. And this record is an artistic statement. It says, if you're looking for psychedelic music, do not buy this record unless you are looking for psychedelic music. Which is kind of a weird thing to say. But that's it. This is some sort of reissue. I think originals are worth piles of money, and who knows if it's legit or not. Can't say I particularly care, given how much the band probably made off this in the first place, which is probably nothing. But it has a paste-on cover that I'm kind of fucking with. It's a little bit off there, you know. I mean, this is just basically a freeform freakout. Like, this is kind of like if you take the freeform freakout sections from the first Red Crayola record and just took out all the songs and made a whole LP out of those freakouts. That's a lot what this would sound like. What is in my current wheelhouse about this is that it still kind of has that hippie feel. Like, I have a lot of, like, 70s freakout records and, you know, a lot of jazz freakout records. But this one is like a 60s hippie shit freakout record. And I kind of love it for that. Incidentally, I've taken, not like a lot of flack, but like a little bit of flack from people for using the term hippie shit. Because it's so kind of derogatory. But here's the thing, man, is I disliked hippie shit for so long. And there's so much shit that I'm like showing right now that was just hippie shit to me before. But now that I like it, I feel like I have to own that. You know what I mean? Like that same hippie shit that I didn't like before that I just thought was shit, I'm really digging the hell out of now. So I'm enjoying this hippie shit, and I'm just going to own that. Oh, and so there's another little tip. This is mostly for Ground Zero, Sale, and Pat. I just discovered this fucking fantastic Nintendo game. It's called Lizard. And this is actually, it's a homebrew, it's a new one. This just came out like, I want to say in April. Although the date on it is 2015, so maybe not. It's just a weird-ass game, though. Basically, you're a lizard, and you can sort of change skins with different lizards that you find around the place, and each one has a different special power. But that's about it. Then, like, there's this platforming, and there's all sorts of shit that kills you, and there are these coins that you can collect, but it's not at all clear what the coins are good for. And the object of the game is like a total mystery. And so, like, if you like an exploration game, which I totally do, like, this is kind of like the ultimate because it gives you absolutely nothing. Yeah, I mean, there are these little clues, actually. I might like one of these little clue things right now. They don't make any fucking sense to me yet. I've only been playing it for, you know, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, but I'm really kind of in love with it. It's a great game. That sort of thing where you can play it for 10 minutes or play it for an hour and it'll be fun either way, you know. Maybe I'll report back when I figure out what the object of the game is, but right now I have no idea. And I kind of like that, you know. In fact, it's sort of like records like this in a way. Like if you're looking for the object of the game in a record like this, you're probably not going to appreciate the record, you know what I mean? But if you can dig the process and sort of the, you know, sort of the search and the exploration for its own sake, then you will dig this record. You know what I'm saying? That's my little metaphor of the day. So here's another one I went out and got again. I used to have this and didn't think much of it. Pretty Things, SF Sorrow. Vinyl Richie's has the die-cut cover, but this is just a fucking reissue. I put it on, and I again didn't particularly care for it. I put it on again just before I starting this video, because I wanted to listen to it one more time. And I figured out why I didn't like it. It's because it's so Beatles-ish. Like, it doesn't scream out. It's not like a direct Beatles ripoff, but it owes so much to the Beatles that it feels a little bit tired in a way that, like, the Beatles stuff sounds just from overexposure. You know what I mean? I'm trying to say this, I'm ripping on the Beatles. I actually really like the Beatles, right? But like, it's hard to listen to the Beatles because you've heard this shit so many times. I have to be in just the right mood to actually really enjoy a Beatles record. You know what I'm saying? And this kind of has that feeling, even though it has different songs. So listening to it again, I came around on it a lot more, and it kind of gets a little weirder on side 2, which I dig. And Twink is on it, which is kind of a plus. So yeah, so this record's growing on me with time. I'll just leave it at that for now. Pretty Things. Here's another one. I had this a long time ago, different reissue. This is a Canadian band called Bent Wind, and the record's called Sussex. It's funny, I had an earlier reissue that just had a plain white paste-on cover, but let that go a long time ago because I thought it was crap. Well, first of all, this one looks nicer. But I love this record, man. This, like, I mean, it definitely kind of has that hippie thing going on, right? But the songs are just good, you know what I mean? It's rocking in the right places, it kind of backs off, and is a little more pensive in the right places. And the whole thing is just really well put together, man. It's just a fucking... I really enjoy this record a lot, so thank you, Mr. Vinyl Richie, for bringing me back on this one. This is like the fucking Vinyl Richie Admiration Society, this video. Okay, this is one, I shouldn't even really be showing this. I don't have a whole lot to say about it yet, but he put this one as one of his favorites. I am still digesting this one, this JK and Company one. I was aware of its reputation before hearing him talk about it, and I was like, well shit, if he likes it, then I better check it out. So, it's a weird record. It's softer than I expected it to be, but it's not like, it's soft in like this weird sort of ethereal kind of way. It's not like soft like the way this is, well, you know, this sort of folky thing, you know what I mean? It's more, yeah, I don't know what the hell to say, but it's a really interesting record. Maybe I'll have something more intelligent to say about it later, but I'm intrigued. This one's just a really good plain psych record, and this is actually, this goes to show you should read the fine print when you're buying shit. He actually had a different press of this. I wanted the void one because that's how I roll. And I ended up accidentally buying a copy that didn't have a cover, so I'm pretty sure there's a test press, which is kind of cool. You know, there's that infamous Tiki. And it's on a pink vinyl, which is pretty nice looking. But I don't have a cover, so I'm going to have to snag a cover one of these days, because this kind of bothers me a little bit. But in the meantime, man, this is just a fucking cool record, man. It's called Psychedelic Moods, and that really sums it up, man. It's like fucking psychedelic moods. It's, just sort of out there. It's really kind of self-indulgent, you know what I mean? It's kind of psychedelic just for the sake of being psychedelic without necessarily, you know, going anywhere with it. And I'm fine with that, man. It's just a fucking entertaining record. I'm totally into it. Yeah. Here's another one that I'm happy to have found cheap. Pull the lever that says pleasure. Those are the words of wisdom of the peanut butter conspiracy. This is the great conspiracy. And, you know, it's funny. This one is really almost exactly what I was thinking of when I was thinking about, like, wussy psych shit. When I was coming back to psych, and I kind of talked about this in my last couple of videos, but I was like, no, I don't want the hard stuff. I know the hard stuff, like the High Tide. They're great. I know that. Blue Cheer, I know that's great. Like, shit like that. Yeah, it has some hippie overtones, but that heavy rock and shit, totally down with. You know what I mean? Even like, you know, the Count 5. This is kind of wussy. And I really like it for it. This isn't my favorite thing ever, but in a way, this is exactly what I was looking for. Like, it has the girls singing, and like, in sort of a pretty voice, but on some of the songs, but not all the songs. Like, all the songs would be too much, you know what I mean? But then it has the guy, too, who's, like, not really that great a singer, but he's adequate, you know what I mean? Total kind of hippie thing that way, man. It's like, I don't know if I'm articulating this well, but it just has that vibe to it. It has lots of songs, which means that none of the songs are too long and overstay their welcome. Yeah, it's like, well, it's 11 songs on here. But, yeah, I'd be lying if I said I thought this was like the greatest thing ever, but it's a record that really hits the spot, you know what I mean? And this guy has an excellent beard right there, too. Usually I'm a fan of mustaches, but if you look at how, like, his jaw is actually kind of round, but he squares it off with that fucking beard, like, he gets points for that, you know? Alright. Here's another really good one, man. Beacon from Mars by Kaleidoscope. And you know something? It's funny. I had this once upon a time, but it wasn't at all like what I remembered. I mean, I must have just been smoking too much pot at the time to really appreciate this. Because this has all sorts of, it has all this sort of variety to it, but it really goes off in different directions. Like, it'll have parts that sound almost like ethnic, like, you know, sort of like an Irish thing almost. And then, you know, the singer has a lower voice that I'm used to hearing in rock music. And it just kind of does all these things wrong, you know what I mean? But somehow it comes together into a really good record, man. And, yeah, I mean, I'm never going to cough up for an original of this thing, because it's an expensive record. But this reissue, I really have been enjoying a lot, man. And I'm glad to have been made aware of it once again. They made a couple more records, and Side Trips, the first one, is supposed to be good too. But aside from the fact that this is the one with the cover that I like the best, which is one reason I wanted to go for it, on top of the Vinyl Richie plug, I almost feel like I want to digest this one a little bit more before I move on to... or go backwards to the first one, you know what I'm saying? Alright, and then finally, I think this is probably going to be the last one. It's another one I used to have and didn't like and got rid of. The United States of America. I thought the singer sounded precious. I thought the electronics, which is what I was really interested in this for. It was like, you know, because what this is, okay, taking a step back, this is basically a band that, like, had a bunch of Moog shit going on and all these, you know, ring modulators and shit like that. So, there's a fucking calliope. So, like, a really weird instrumentation. At the time, honestly, I was kind of hostile to hearing the woman singing, again, with sort of a pretty voice, as opposed to, like, you know, I can handle Wendy O. Williams, right? Or, like, well, anyway. I don't know, man. I was able to hear past that. First of all, she's fine. It was just me being an asshole. Or wanting something grittier, I guess, and not something as nice sounding. But the electronics in this are great, man. It's just... they're not like in your face. It's not like Metal Machine music. It's not like, you know, Charles Dodge or something like that. It's like the electronics actually sort of existing to, like, support the musical themes, you know what I mean? And develop the musical themes. I mean, this is a very electronic record, you know what I mean? This is really the sort of thing I should have been all over back when I first had this, but I don't know, man. It went over my head. So what can I say? I've said before in videos that one thing about, you know, finding shit like this at my age is that there's still, like, great albums that I can enjoy for the first time, even though I've heard so much of this stuff already. I mean, I've listened to thousands and thousands of records. I have what's in my living room, and I've probably owned this many again, and that's not counting the shit I've listened to at other people's houses or whatever, right? But, yeah, it just goes to show, try to keep your mind open, man, because even if you think it is, you come back around, and sometimes it's worthwhile. You know, people think I'm stupid, or not stupid, but I do that sort of thing with foods. If I don't like something, I'll try it again, like, once a year, and see maybe this time I'll like it, you know? And I've come around on all sorts of different things because of that. And with music, it's the same kind of thing, you know what I mean? Your taste changes with time, and there's all sorts of stuff that I'm digging right now that isn't really new to me. I mean, I used to actually really be into this stuff, but I still feel like it's brand new to me because there's this whole, like, aspect to it, this whole dimension that I was just kind of shut off to, you know. I mean, I've always dug this, you know. With something like the Folklords, I would have just dismissed out of hand. So, anyway, that's what I've got for today. So, thanks for watching, and subscribe to Vinyl Richie if you're not already. Till next time.